Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Wednesday, October 12th, and we have all you need to know about conflict surrounding State College as well as recent scamming fraud in Center County.
We also have more on climate change effects on local crops, along with entertainment, sports, and weather. Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jamie DeBellonia.
And I'm Jace.
The College Township Council won't be voicing opposition to the proposed Nittany Mall Casino. The township's attorney said interfering with the state licensing process could result in a costly lawsuit. Casino opponents urged the council in September to send a letter to the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board. They noted community opposition to the proposed casino before a public hearing was held to decide on licensing approval, which could come as early as November. No council member expressed support for such a letter, but they asked Township Solicitor Louis Glantz to weigh in with an opinion on the result of doing so. After more than 90 minutes of discussion last Thursday night, the council declined to send the letter or forward the letter received by the township.
Rockview State Police are on the hunt for those behind two recent scams that occurred in the Bald Eagle Valley area of Center County. The victims, an 84-year-old female and a 50-year-old female, were scammed out of a total of nearly $10,000. The 84-year-old was scammed after receiving a call from a man claiming to be her nephew and seeking bail money. The woman then received another call from an unknown individual posing as her nephew's attorney. He instructed her to pay the total amount of $8,000 in cash to a courier that would pick up the money at her house. The woman complied. She described the courier as a 30-year-old black male with dreadlocks. The second scam occurred on Friday when a 50-year-old female said that $1,700 was taken out of her bank account. Police say anyone with information on these incidents should contact them.
Experts say pandemic-related problems that caused issues with our food production and supply have continued. But Pennsylvania Secretary of Agriculture remains optimistic that the state can up its production in time to help feed the world. PA Secretary of Agriculture Russell Redding says he is very confident about increased production statewide, despite the ongoing challenges. Farmers have battled drought and several other issues. Russell points at Penn State in being crucial in advancing the agriculture industry production. Livestock production accounts for nearly 70% of Pennsylvania farm income.
After experiencing a dry, hot summer, local farmers are seeing the effects on their crops, in particular a fall staple, pumpkins. On August 31st, the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection put Center County under a drought watch. This means people in the area should be cautious of how much water they use. According to Candace Wasson, the co-owner of Wasson Farm Market, they were able to grow plenty of pumpkins this year, but they are lacking in size compared to how big they have been in the past. Wasson says, quote, "A farmer is a forever optimist," end quote. So she is hopeful for a better pumpkin growing season next year. After seeing some remnants of summer weather this week, can we expect the same for the rest of the week? Christian Spallone with Campus Weather Service will let you know what to expect in this week's weather report. Take a look.
From the students of Penn State Meteorology, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Happy Wednesday, I'm student meteorologist Christian Spallone here with a look at your PSN News forecast. It was really a beautiful day out across the State College area today, and as we move into this evening here, you can see an overcast deck of clouds has really encompassed the local area and really moving across all of Pennsylvania. So it's gotten a little bit more unsettled, and that's all in advance of some weather we have approaching for later tonight and into the day tomorrow, which we'll be getting into throughout this forecast here. But right now in State College, currently seeing a temperature of 64 degrees. Feels like 64, that dew point sitting at 48, so not uncomfortable right now, and really just a nice fall day out there overall today. Our temperatures across the Northeast kind of showing that nice pattern right now. Very fall-like. Temperature slightly above average in the 60s to the 70s, but generally partly cloudy skies throughout the region. So really just a beautiful day out there in the middle of this week here. In terms of our radar at the moment, we can start to see some clouds approaching as as well as with some showers across the area. And again, this is in advance of a larger system we have approaching from the west here. We see a large low pressure area centered over Canada here, and a cold front extending down across the Ohio Valley, and that's going to be pushing into the Pennsylvania area as we move into tonight, and the heaviest rainfall of that can be expected during the day tomorrow. Some heavy rain and thunderstorms expected, and we can go into our future cast to time that out for you now. As we head into tonight around 10:30, we see some showers and heavy downpours approaching into our western areas here near Pittsburgh and up further in northwest Pennsylvania. And as we move this into tonight, these become more widespread across the area. So if you're heading out early tomorrow morning, make sure to be prepared for those across the western regions. And then as we move into the later morning and afternoon hours, these should sweep into the central and eastern portions of the state. In these heavier reflectivity values here, you could be seeing some heavier downpours and maybe even some thunderstorms across those areas. And this will continue to push out as we move into tomorrow night and into Friday, eventually clearing the area by on Friday morning. So it should be nice as you head out for the end of the week here with sunny skies developing, but also chilly conditions moving in as we really have a true fall-like pattern, almost a little wintry pattern developing as we head into the beginning of next week. We can take a look at those temperatures as we move throughout this system here, and we can see that during the day tomorrow they're pretty mild in the 60s, even getting down to around 70 degrees down in Philadelphia. But as we advance this forward here and move this into Friday morning, we see that cold front sweep through and these blues encompass the area. And now we have temperatures around 36 degrees in State College and 30s, a lot of 30s across the board. Elsewhere, some other areas in the 40s. But generally chilly conditions, below average temperatures for lows Friday morning, and that'll continue as we head into next week. So really just a chilly pattern that's going to be showing up here. And we can see all that here as we move into our 6 to 10 day outlook here in terms of temperatures. This is from the Climate Prediction Center here. We can see this big blob of blue and even purple over the eastern United States that's indicating a high probability of below normal temperatures over the next week or so. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. And with that, we can even expect maybe even a little bit of wintry precipitation as we head into next week, which I'll mention in my 7-day forecast. So it's an exciting time for your winter lovers, definitely on the way here. And it's been a cool fall overall. So we're definitely seeing that pattern entrenched throughout the area. For tonight in State College, expecting a temperature of 57 degrees, so a pretty mild low as we have the system working in showers moving in late across State College, sometime in the very late night around 3 a.m. or so. As we head into the day tomorrow across State College, we see some lightning pop up there, rainy and stormy, a couple thunderstorms possible, but generally just a mucky day out there. Not really great to be outside. Make sure to keep the umbrella handy throughout the day. And now for our 7-day forecast for the State College area, we see that nice fall foliage in the background here, which is plentiful across the area right now. 63 tomorrow and cooling off as we head into Friday with only getting up to around 59 degrees. We also see those nighttime lows in the 30s. Generally clear this weekend, a couple showers possible on Sunday. And then as we head into next week, chilly conditions really developing, those nighttime lows getting down to around freezing, and maybe even a couple lake effect rain and snow showers as we head into Tuesday of next week. From the Penn State Campus Weather Service, I'm Christian Spallone. Have a wonderful evening.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Malia Brown with your sports update. Prior to the start of hoop season, Micah Shrewsbury's team will play in East Halls once again. For the second year in a row, Penn State men's basketball head coach Micah Shrewsbury and his team are sponsoring Shrews Slamma Jamma. This event is meant to get the student body ready for the upcoming basketball season. This event is set to take place at 7 p.m. on October 26 at the East Halls basketball court. Fans who attend the event will have the opportunity to meet Shrewsbury and the team, win prizes, get free food, and compete in games. In about a month, Penn State men's basketball will play its season opener at home against Winthrop. WNBA player Natisha Heidman has been hired by Penn State women's basketball as their new director of player development. With a wealth of academic and executive experience, the 25-year-old starter for the Connecticut Sun joins Carolyn Keeger's team. Heidman played for the Sun for her entire 4-year WNBA career. She racked up 778 points, 193 rebounds, 257 assists, 85 steals, and 12 blocks. While at Marquette from 2015 to 2019, Heidman played under Keeger. Now, her goal is to assist the Lady Lions to reach success in their next season. Davante Adams, the standout wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, has been charged for pushing a photographer to the ground on Monday night following a close defeat to the Kansas City Chiefs. Adams was charged for a misdemeanor assault after being cited for a, quote, intentional overt act, end quote, that inflicted, quote, bodily injury, end quote. Adams walked off the field in rage following the game. He pushed the photographer so hard while storming off that he caused the photographer to fall and land on his rear end. Adams watched the series of events but continued to ignore him falling and proceeded back into the tunnel. The photographer was sent to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Following the game, Adams did apologize for his actions. That's all for your sports update. After the break, John Colavita has the latest updates from the entertainment world. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm John Colavita with your entertainment update. Hulu is developing a television series about the death of Penn State student Timothy Piazza. Piazza was killed in a hazing accident 5 years ago at the now-defunct Beta Theta Phi fraternity. He fell 15 feet headfirst down a flight of stairs while intoxicated. The other fraternity members waited over 12 hours to call the police. The series, entitled Death at Penn State, is an adaptation of Caitlin Flanagan's 2017 article in The Atlantic, Death at a Penn State Fraternity. Piazza's parents, Jim and Evelyn, are in support of the series. They said they feel their son's story must be told, so an incident like this never happens again. Lionsgate Television and Robert Greenblatt are set to executive produce the project. The Penn State School of Music is set to host a variety of concerts over the next month in the Eisenhower Auditorium. On October 20th, the opera, A Marvelous Order, will premiere for the first time ever. The show takes place in the 1960s and chronicles the relationships of dealing with the abuse of authority. On November 3rd, the Uptown Jazz Orchestra will make its way to Happy Valley. They are a renowned New Orleans jazz group and have been around since 2008. Tickets for these shows are $5 for students, $45 for adults, and $23 for those 18 and under. The final group, King's Return, a Dallas-based a cappella quartet, is set to perform November 10th. Tickets are $20 for adults, $10 for anyone 18 and under, and free for anyone with a Penn State ID. In other recent news, Crumble Cookies has opened their latest location around the corner in State College. Field reporter Danny Vitale has all the delicious details. Take a look.
Crumble Cookies was founded in 2017 by cousins Jason McGowan and Sawyer Hemsley out of Logan, Utah, and it has since become the fastest growing cookie company in the nation as it has expanded to over 478 bakeries in 36 states nationwide. On September 30th, 2022, they added one more store to the family. Crumble Cookies on Colonnade Way in State College, PA is the perfect place for not only Penn State students, but also State College residents to get a unique sweet treat. The store's owner, Greg Norton, said that State College was the perfect place for this new Crumble Cookies location.
State College is kind of a vibrant community anyway. This is a perfect time of year too. I love it here. It's beautiful with the fall season rolling in. But that whole college vibe it's fun to be around. It's fun to have a bunch of college kids here working in our store with us and bringing their energy and their enthusiasm.
These aren't your ordinary cookies. With its rotating menu, customers are excited to try new, crazy flavors that change every week.
I got Aggie Mint, apple, caramel, pumpkin, and what's the other one? Peanut butter.
Customers raved about the cookies so much that I just had to try one to see what the hype was about. And after I fought off a bee and a mini tornado, I was finally able to try it. I'm outside of Crumble Cookies in State College, PA. The business was booming. The line was super long. The employees were super friendly. The owner was actually kind enough to offer me a cookie. So I'll be trying. If you know me, you know I'm a big caramel guy. I had to go with the caramel apple. Hopefully I don't make too much of a fool out of myself trying this live on camera. Let's take a bite. A little messy. It's incredible. It's caramel and it's a cookie. What's not to love? State College people, if you want a place to be at for a sweet treat, this is your place. From Penn State Network News, I'm Danny Vitale. Incredible.
Crumble Cookies doors are now open at their North Atherton Street location Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. On Tuesday, Blink-182 announced they are coming back for a reunion tour in 2023. The pop-punk group has not gone on tour since 2010 and will begin their new concert series in March in Tijuana, Mexico. Blink-182 will venture throughout South America and come back up north to the U.S. and Canada before heading to Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. The band will finish up in Christchurch, New Zealand on February 26, 2024. Along with the tour announcement, the group will be releasing a new single titled Edging on Friday. Tickets are available for pre-sale this Monday at 10 a.m. This announcement has a lot of fans wondering, what's my age again? That's all for your entertainment update. After the break, interview anchor Amanda Weissman will be speaking with the Director of Athlete and Influencer Relations at JERPA, Juwan Farah. Stay tuned.
Good evening. I'm Amanda Weissman, and tonight I have the pleasure of interviewing Juan Farah, a junior finance major with experience in handling different athlete and influencer relations. Juan, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let's get right into it. Since the very beginning, you've been working with JERPA, and I believe in 2021, you actually became their first ever director of athlete and influencer relations. So what has this experience been like?
It's been a great experience, you know, being able to work alongside Austin, Bradley, and Nico, along with the other ambassadors, and being able to build these relationships and really get to know the people that we're working with. I think a lot of brands out there will just send product and not really get to know the people that they're working with. So being able to build those connections has really helped us maintain those, as well as getting into the business-to-business space, which I'll touch on later. But it's been a great experience so far, and I have nothing more but positive things to say.
100%. So has there been anyone really cool that you've actually been able to connect with?
Yeah, I mean, some of the people, Saquon Barkley, Kendall Verdes from Dance Moms, Chris Paul, who plays on the Suns. So yeah, we've had a lot. And then in terms of like personal here at Penn State, a good friend of mine, Jimmy Dowd, who's on the, shout out Jimmy Dowd, he's on the men's hockey team, Michael Giroux, and others. But it's been, like I said, a great experience, and just looking forward to continuing to build the relationships.
Did you get to do a TikTok dance with Kendall?
I did not. I did not do
it. That would have been great.
But I did do a TikTok dance with Katie Feeney, which I know Katie was on here, I think yesterday or something like that. So shout out Katie.
Definitely. So as you started, I know that you've been more involved with athletes recently. So was there anything in particular that kind of influenced you to make that jump over to the athlete side of everything?
Yeah, I would say, you know, working like with the brand and stuff, and, you know, the main role was, you know, building those relationships and having them get the product. Being able to now actually work on an athlete in their own personal brand has been really cool. So, you know, working at Limitless, which is what we're going to get at, being able to see these guys conquer their goals outside of their respective sport is what's been really fulfilling. And so that's what made me want to get into the, you know, more like athlete personal brand and stuff like that.
Definitely. So as you just said, the Limitless NIL agency, how is that actually being an NIL advisor, especially as a student?
Yeah.
That must be a lot, but what's it like?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, you're very much like at their, like, you know, dispense whenever they need any question or anything, you're there. And it's been really cool working with, you know, 3 specific athletes. One, Zach Harrison at Ohio State, Josh Reinstein, and then Michael Giroux. And being able to work with them and come up with different brand strategies, different content ideas, and also obviously get the brand deals. But that's kind of like, you know, that's cool and all, but it's really about like being able to foster different ways for them to think and maximize their opportunity within NIL, because NIL is more than just getting money. It's about actually building your own personal self and seeing how that could help you maybe professionally, socially, whatever that is.
Have you firsthand seen an athlete already be able to do this with your help from the...
I would say the biggest thing would be, you know, Michael Giroux, for example. We kind of like talked about it when I first started working with him, and now he actually has his own podcast called Stretching with Mike.
Wow.
And so I didn't, you know, directly come up with the idea, and like he obviously did all the work, but, you know, we just talked through that, and I was like, you know, Mike, you're already a content creator, you're big following on TikTok, how can you kind of like expand now and do something where you're connecting with other athletes? And so that's kind of like how that happened.
Yeah, I mean, you honestly sound amazing at everything you've been doing, but what's so crazy to me is that you're actually a finance major.
Yeah.
So stepping outside of your comfort zone, what kind of like made you want to do that?
Yeah, I mean, being a finance major, right, to be honest, I came from a family that was like a Wall Street type family. So initially coming into college, I thought I was going to do that. But I kind of took the approach of, you know, why don't I just put myself out there and see what happens? Because the worst thing that happens is I either end up at the same spot or I end up maybe at a place better. So putting myself out there and, you know, obviously like in sports, like a lot of kids, and finding a way, how can I break into the industry, because it's super competitive. So, you know, I'm only on a face level, but that's kind of what I did, was just like take that leap of faith and believe in yourself.
100%. I'm actually I'm very similar in that way. You know, you kind of just got to go for it.
Yeah.
But you know, not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to students to kind of, you know, step out of their comfort zone, try something new?
I would say be persistent. I think one of my mentors, David Meltzer, always tells me, like, just be on the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, and I really believe in that. And so what I mean, like, by the comfort zone is like, put yourself out there, try everything. Like, go to a club. If you go to a club meeting and you don't like it, cool. And how does that relate to me? Like, go ahead and build a relationship with an athlete. If it doesn't work out, great. At least you learned that, okay, now I'm going to move to the next person. Just being able to like do that and find different ways to, you know, find what you truly love, I think that's what's going to help you be successful.
Definitely. So what would you what would your advice be to someone that wants to just get involved with like athletes?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, NIL's huge right now, right? It's only just over a year now that it started since legislation. I would say the biggest way is, you know, if you have an athlete in a class, let's start there. Like, go up to them and be like, hey, you know, my name is X. I'm really interested in sports. I know NIL is going on. How can I help you, you know, with your brand deals? I know you're really focused on your sport. So how can I maybe help you outside of the classroom? And I think that's a great way to start. And I know that might seem a little intimidating, but again, that just goes back to like putting yourself out there and like, if you really want to do this, like, you're going to do it. So
No, exactly. So also how like you're able to help them and everything. Has there been anything that you've kind of learned from, you know, meeting so many different people, all these connections, anything that kind of stuck out to you?
Yeah, I would say a big thing that I've learned that I didn't realize about athletes is kind of their like mindset. Like they have a totally different, I feel like they have a very unique mindset from the normal like student. In terms of like they're so dialed in on their sport and obviously they want to do the best that they can, but realizing that, you know, they might not be as involved in things that like you would think, oh, you know, I think they would be very passionate about, like they're, you know, so focused on one thing. And so learning how to like kind of, again, that goes back to like learning how to like get them out of that like, you know, one singular focus. I think that's what I would say is like kind of like surprised me I've like learned.
Exactly. Wow. So look at you. You're learning, you're teaching, you honestly do so much. So before we wrap up, I am dying to know, what can we expect to see from you in the future?
Yeah, so currently right now, I know I referenced Bradley Crowd, which is obviously he's blowing up right now on TikTok.
Yes.
I'm actually like helping out almost as like his manager. So he has his own management team. But what I'm doing here at Penn State is we're partnering up with like different sports teams. So I know we're doing basketball next week, field hockey, we have planned baseball, we just did swimming and diving, men's gymnastics. So like just being able to get content there and in that space, and then as well as just doing more freelance work. I'm working with like some other athletes like on a freelance basis and trying to get them deals and build kind of ideas like that. So that's kind of the future, and you know the ultimate goal is to be able to represent athletes.
That is absolutely amazing. I really honestly can't wait to see what you continue to do. So thank you so much for your time tonight, Juwan. We really appreciate having you on here. So next up, Jamie and Jace will bring us the latest news from across the nation. We'll be right back.
The unusually low water levels in the Mississippi River are causing barges to get stuck in mud and sand. This is disrupting river travel for shippers, recreational boaters, and even passengers on a cruise line. Lack of rainfall in recent weeks has left the Mississippi approaching record low levels in some areas. The U.S. Coast Guard said at least 8 grounding of barges have been reported in the last week. The stoppage also brought a Viking cruise ship with 350 passengers to a stop. The Viking ship was originally supposed to launch from New Orleans on Saturday, but the water there was so low that the launch was moved to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. To keep river traffic flowing, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has been stopping throughout the Mississippi at several spots and placed limits on the number of barges each tow can move.
Enlisting state-of-the-art machinery to trap and bury harmful gas emissions from the most heavily polluting industries. It's an enticing proposal for a nation like the United States who is trying to confront the issue of global warming. President Biden's $370 billion climate package was signed into law in August. It includes billions of dollars of new subsidies in carbon capture technology, a signature component of this package. The increase of cash comes as a gift to fossil fuel, chemical, and industrial agriculture companies seeking to rebrand themselves as green. The incentives of this package are driving forward large oil and gas projects that threaten a heavy carbon footprint. The Biden administration and lawmakers on both sides of the aisle promise the package will help America meet its climate goals.
A former leader of the Proud Boys extremist group pleaded guilty Thursday to seditious conspiracy. This is a connection with the group's efforts to halt the certification of the 2020 election. Jeremy Bertino acknowledged his role in helping to plan the Proud Boys' participation in the January 6, 2021 assault on the U.S. Capitol. He also agreed to the cooperation in the government's continuing investigation. 5 other members of the group have been charged as well with sedition and are awaiting trial. Bertino also pleaded guilty to unlawful possession of firearms related to March's search of his home. Authorities then recovered 6 guns and more than 3,000 rounds of ammunition. Bertino faces a maximum of 20 years in prison for seditious conspiracy and up to 10 years for his firearms charge.
Richard Gillmore, also known as the Jogger Rapist, is set to be released from prison this December after serving 36 years behind bars. Gillmore was arrested in 1986 after stalking victims as he ran by their homes. He admitted to raping 9 girls in the Portland, Oregon area in the 1970s and 80s. Despite these admissions, Gillmore was only convicted in 1 case due to the statute of limitations. In 1987, he was found guilty of raping his last known victim, a 13-year-old girl, in December the year before. Gillmore has been transferred to a minimum security correctional institution in Portland to help prepare him to enter back into the community. He will be 63 when he is released. That concludes our show tonight at PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.